So, in terms of regards to talk about these new banners here for Dragon Ball Legends, and we're talking about what you should summon or skip. Now, obviously with anniversary banners, if you've watched my videos before, I always say that anniversary is usually the best time to summon. If you're new to the game, or you've been playing the game for a while, like, these banners are always usually top tier, right? Which, yet again, both these banners are incredible. There is one slight issue I do have with them, but I still don't think it's enough to say don't summon, right? So we'll look at the banners and then I'll explain about the one little thing that I'm not too happy about. So obviously the one big thing you got to look at here, which to me is a definite summon, is triple Z power, right? Now triple Z power, it may not seem like a lot if you're new to the game, but this massively helps out if you're chasing dupes, right? If you pull them once, you get Goku up or Vegeta up to 4 stars instantly. But if you're going for more dupes, I think it requires one less dupe overall to get max, which still doesn't seem like a lot, but when you look at the game in terms of how long people summon for, like, for me, for example, I summon quite a bit on the game. I know roughly how long it takes. 14 stars, you take a long time. This banner, well, I did get really lucky, but in terms of banners, these have been my luckiest ones. But if I didn't have that extra Z power, this would probably take me an extra maybe 30k CC each to get 14 stars. Roughly, depending, and that's like a good roughly, like you could get up to like, shafts like 100k CC per banner sort of thing, right? So that's how I look at it. That's obviously a one huge, good thing about it is triple Z power. The spiking rate's at 20%, that always happens on LF banners. This Kid Goku one did have it, but since it's got reset, it doesn't have it anymore. But anyway, let's have a look at the feature characters, and then we'll also talk about the little issue I have, but it's not really an issue. So we have UI Goku here, that goes to MUI Goku, which honestly, I'd say is easily number one, best unit in the game. Not just because I'm a huge fan of him, but you'll see like on Twitter, other YouTube channels, stuff like that, they'll all say he's number one, right? He's just super overpowered. He's just a must summon, right? If you want to play the game, if you want to play PvP, he's sort of like a unit you must have. You can use other units, obviously, but if you want like easy wins, you might as well just get him. He's just that good. So obviously he's a must summon. God Goku, he can still be good, especially after his buffs he's got recently with his plat equipments and that. So he's still a really good unit to have in this banner. We have Goku and Frieza, which I'm a little bit disappointed with the plat equipment. I wish they gave him a bit more. They're still very good, like they're still good, it's just they could have been a lot better, if that makes sense. But I'm assuming the big thing that really stuffed it up for Legends is everyone assumed they were going to get this huge buff of this plat equipment, and it's like they got a little buff, but it's not quite what they needed to be good again, if that makes sense. We have Rev UI Goku, which his Zenkai is coming up in the next few days, so it's hard to say at the moment if he's going to be good or not. Looking at the last few Zenkais, especially LF ones, I do have high hopes he's going to be really good. But he's been on a lot of, well, not really that many banners, but yeah, he's still going to be a good unit to get eventually, if you don't have him at the moment. We have this Vegeta as well, which he can still be okay. He does have his perks here and there. He's obviously not the best, he has aged a little bit, but he's still a really good unit. Goku, we do not need to talk about Goku Black. Gotenks is obviously a huge win being on this banner. If you're a Fusion main, he is a must-have on your team. He's still really good to this day. He's actually, I'd say, underrated. I haven't seen many people use him, but he is still pretty good in my, in my opinion, I'd say. We have this Goku as well, which obviously dropped off a fair bit. You don't see him much. Kao and Khalifa are good, but at the same time, I don't usually typically like to judge banners with this spark, like the sparking here, just because they're going to return eventually anyway, and they're going to be on every banner, so you're going to get more dupes from eventually. So, looking at Goku's banner, obviously that's a must summon, there's heaps of good units here. Typically how I like to judge banners is I look at the full roster, and if there's like a percentage just like 80% of the banner is just garbage, then to me that's a must skip, but there's only really one unit which I say is bad, is just Goku Black. The rest are all still good, or really good sort of thing, so that's sort of how I typically like to look at it. So his banner's a must summon. Vegeta's one I think is pretty much the same thing if I remember correctly. Vegeta's a good unit, but he's not obviously quite as good as Goku. I still think he's like maybe top 5. Maybe. He might be, I'd say he's still top 5, he does have his perks. So he's obviously still a really good unit to get. Zamasu being back is obviously very good. Not many people I don't think would have had him. I don't think so. I think around this time when he dropped, most people were saving for anniversary. So he's a really good pickup if you can get him. Who else do we have here? So Goku and Frieza again, we already talked about them. So I think from this point forward, it's pretty much, yeah, all the same. So the only real difference is the Zamasu there, which I don't know why they changed Zamasu there, but they kept God Goku another banner. It's a bit of an odd choice. But overall, you know, like I said, they're both really good banners. But the one thing I do want to talk about, which, like I said, you know, both these banners are must summon anyway. I probably recommend Goku more just because how good he is. But there's one thing that they mention in the live stream, and they don't actually mention here, I don't think. No, it doesn't say anything here. But it's in the Z power list, right? So obviously got all the LFs here, and if we scroll down, it's actually not quite that far anyway, they've put up the top. So we have from Broly here all the way down. All these are LFs, by the way. Look how many you got. Don't get me wrong, most of these LFs are still usable. But when you look at it, if you get a guaranteed LF animation, you could get anywhere from Bardock all the way to Broly, and then all the way for the other LFs, right? You know, yes, you could say Goku does have a high percentage, which is obviously very good. And these ones do as well, I think. Yeah, these ones have a high percentage. But when you look at it in total, you know, like I said, it's still really good regardless. It's just, to me, I don't like the fact that added all these LFs. I think what they should have done is split this up, so half of these unfeatured LFs are on one banner, and the other half are on the other banner. To me, that would have made it a little bit better to summon on. But at the same time, out of all my summons, I didn't really get many units from this sort of section here, just because the percentage is very low. You got 0.05 there, and then up the top you got 0.25, and then 0.5. So it's not... It may not seem like a lot if you're not really good with maths. Don't worry, I'm not really good at maths either, but it is a bit better, these top featured units, other than these top 0.5 here. But just to me, it's not quite the same as a normal banner. I think if they want to do this, though, if this is what they plan on doing, why not add it to every banner from now on? Honestly, like, why not? And if they're going to do this, add them on Ultra banners. Add the old Ultras on these banners as well, like on, obviously, the Ultra banners. And add the percent, like, half of what the new Ultra is. Like, I just don't see why not. If they can do this sort of thing for LF banners, why not do it for Ultra banners? To me, that makes sense, but, you know, I guess it's up to Legends in the end. Another thing I will say, I mean, we'll sort of talk about the summoner skip stuff. Like I said, these are my summons, but there's one thing I do want to mention for free-to-play players, if you are very new to the game. If you got a lot of coins from summoning, I can't show it because I already got it. If you get 30 coins, get the 600 LFZ power. It should be about here, just above the 200 here. Get that before, well, actually, let me rephrase that. Only get the 300, only get the 600 LFZ power if you got the new Vegeta, right? If you got the new unit, use your 30 on getting the LFZ power, right? That's a lot better than wasting 50 on that. You know, because you know, essentially you get an extra 20 coins just to get 600 LFZ power, where you can just get it from here if you already have Vegeta. If not, obviously go for pity first. Otherwise, you're not guaranteed to get it. But yeah, it's just... It might be like a very common thing to know, but, you know, it's just a reminder that it is in the shop there. They just don't usually... Yeah, it's not very highlighted enough, I don't think. Like, yeah, they do show this, like, the Z power here, but the 600, I think a lot of people do forget. But yeah, that's going to today's video, guys. If you need any other help or something like that, if you're new to the game and need more advice, leave a comment down below and I might do a video about it, depending on how asked about it is. And yeah, if you guys like this video and you want to see more, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you as a win the next time.